Author, filmmaker and farmer by the name of Peter Bland. Peter is a survivor. He is the first Australian to have adventured to both the North and South magnetic poles. What makes Peter's accomplishment even better is that he completed the expedition to the North Magnetic Pole, hauling a sled 700 kilometres across the Arctic just 12 months after having major heart surgery. Peter has survived being taken by an avalanche and falling the equivalent of a 14-storey office building. And using his experiences from the wilderness, Peter has raised more than $14 million for Australian charities. He has produced 2 TV documentaries, and his most recent being turned into an ABC miniseries, and his biography, A Step Too Far. If the testimonies to his book by the likes of Peter Hillary, Stuart Diver, Betty Cuthbert and Greg Norman are anything to go by, then we're about to hear an incredible story.
This is National 9 News with Peter Hitchener.
Injured Antarctic adventurer Peter Bland forced to wait for a family reunion. Another attempt will be made tonight to...
Pete fell in an avalanche. The avalanche took him out. He went down about 40 metres before going over a cliff edge down into a crevasse, which was another 40 metres. He impacted incredibly heavily. The fall he took was just a phenomenal fall, and the impact must have been incredible. For him to be even alive, I think, is a test of his strength and spirit.
At the moment, I'm about to go back to the hospital now. There is a concern about his heart, that surgery he's had on his heart, and the doctors here are advising that perhaps we should fly him out on those grounds.
I don't know why on earth I use that footage to open up my talk. It gives me the heebie-jeebies every single time I see it. I'm a professional speaker. I see it a fair bit. But still I use it. And why do I use it? Well, I think there's nothing like having a little avalanche and a broken back and brain trauma to teach you that life's to be lived. You see, like all good lessons in life, it wasn't supposed to happen. It was supposed to be a perfect planned expedition, world first crossing of the Antarctic Peninsula. Pretty simple. What the plan was, is we sailed a boat called Australis, down from Ushuaia, Fin del Mundo. Anyone been to Argentina? Boimenda, Terra del Fuego, Fin del Mundo, the southernmost city in the world. And we're sailing from Ushuaia down to the peninsula, to a place called Esperanza. Esperanza, if you speak Spanish, you know means hope, which is ironic, because if you've been to Esperanza, you know you got no hope. Anyway, we're leaving for Esperanza, and the plan was pretty simple. We'd climb over the peninsula there, get down this bay called Dulce Bay, Sweet Bay. We'd paddle across in our kayaks. But the trouble with this little plan was, the very bay that we're supposed to be walking on, the little thing that happened between the planning and actual execution was a little thing you may have heard about, a guy called Al Gore's been talking about, global warming. So the very ice that we were walking on was drifting out to the Southern Ocean, to the same place where Serena Shackleton was stuck for 527 days with 27 men. It wasn't a good place to be, so we had to skedaddle to try and get off that ice as quick as we could. This is me, you're witnessing me doing a self-justification for what's about to happen. Like all good stuff-ups in life, you've got to have a good justification. So that's me justifying what happens next to your fault, isn't it? It's always somebody else's fault, isn't it? Yeah, so it wasn't my fault, it's global warming. Anyway, we come up over this peninsula, see, and we're up on top here. And we're coming onto the other side there, and we're about to descend onto the western side. We're about to make history. And I said to my great friend Jay, I said, mate, high five. We've made history. We look ahead, and we've been abseiling. Anybody got any rock climbing or ice climbing at all? Yeah, okay, so you've got your rope. What's this called? Harness. What have we got here? What's that called? Yeah, shackle, and then you got a belay device. Got your belay device. Pretty good, the old belay device. What you do with that is, Your mate goes down on the western side, making history in Antarctica. You go, no worries, Jason, there you go, mate. Down you go, nice and slowly. I'll control you. You see? You want to stop him? Put the brake on. He's stopped. What's the word I'm emphasising right now? The word control. Why? Because there wasn't much in what happens next. So we're on the western side here. We're coming down here, and we come down there. Gee, we've been on the ice for 16 hours. Look ahead of us, and there's a great big crevasse. Now, a crevasse in Antarctica is not a wee little crack. You know the average ice thickness in Antarctica is 3,000 metres. That's 3 kilometres of ice is the average thickness. Antarctica is the size of Australia and America put together. Moral of the story, it's a big cold place. And a wee little crack is a big crack. And what you don't want to do is fall down. You get that? Right. So what we did is we got our ice picks, multi-purpose tool, and we dug. Maybe we'll even use 2 of them. And maybe we went to this side. I'm just being fair. See, I'm a father with 3 kids. I know you've got to share, you see? You've got to share. One cut, the other one chooses. Now, pull the ice up here, make a wall behind, make the tent safe in case there's an avalanche. And that's what we did. Because of the great big crevasse, it wasn't safe to walk that night. We go to bed that night. Any of the companies here, a tile replacement company at all? I promise I'll be gentle. Now, we wake up the next morning, it's blowing like 60 knots. 60 knots is like 100 kilometres an hour. It's windy. It's like, squashing the tent right over. And I say, Jay-Z, mate, it's not safe to walk today. I'll step out of the tent and I'll walk over and I'll get the food from the sleds. So I walk 20 feet from where I am over here to where the sleds are. And they're screwed onto the ice. And I bend over the kayaks there. And in the yellow box is the breakfast, in the red box is the lunch, and the blue box has got the dinner, right? So I'm getting the lunch, right? Out of which box? Which one? Hands up yellow box. Hands up blue? Hands up red? Okay, red. I'm getting the lunch out of the red box, right? Anybody been like, to Europe, yeah, and you've been on the Met system? And you know how you can feel the train before you can see it? It's just like, shh, it's number 32 coming, full of vibrating. Well, there I am, over these kayaks, and I can feel the number 32 coming from, Umbridge. And it's coming down there, and it's vibrating like on a trampoline. And I look up, and I see this rock and rubble and ice coming screaming down the mountain. It's an avalanche, and I scramble to get back to safe to the tent as quickly as I possibly can. But I don't make it. Now, I'm in front of you now. My company is called the Leadership Group. I'm a leader. Of course I'm a leader. I've got a microphone. I've got a program. I've got products. I've been on TV. I'm a leader. Is that a definition of leadership? I've got a business card that says leader. I've got a fancy suit. I'm not wearing it today. I haven't worn a suit for about 12 years. But the fact is, I could if I wanted to. The fact is, what defines leadership? That fascinates me. You see, we're in a bit of a sticky position here because Jay, who quite clearly is not a leader, he hasn't got a program or a book, he's in the tent here, right? And he looks at his watch and he says, gee, Pete's been out there for a while. He opens up the tent. There's nothing in here. Oh, my suitcase. I flew in last night from Melbourne. Now, he opens the tent, he looks across, and he sees that both the kayaks are gone, and so's his best mate. Now is the time for leadership.